Hey everybody, welcome to the Stats. You are joining Murdock Manwaring Company, a real estate group at Keller Williams Realty East Idaho for our monthly market update on the real estate market here in Southeast Idaho. If you would like to receive this video every month in your email, you can go to mmcidaho.com and click at the top to get our newsletter, and you'll find out more about this, as well as finding out some local businesses and some really cool information for your homes. So we do this every month to keep up to date with our team. So thanks for joining us, and take it away, Chad.
All right, so today we get to talk about the stats for April of 2023, and let's go ahead and dig into that. When we do this, we are covering Bonneville, Jefferson, and Bingham counties. And so we are looking at the real estate data that we have as of April of 2023 and comparing it with years past and months past. So as far as how homes have sold, if we're looking April from April, year over year from 2022 to 23, there was 227 homes sold last year, and we had 179 this year in April. So we saw a 21% decrease. We know that the main reason for that is rates are higher. So we're seeing that curb demand. If you want a breakdown of what is really moving in Idaho Falls, or in this Southeast Idaho area, this is your slide. We see a lot of action from 200,000 to 600,000. And really that 200,000 is closer to the $300,000 range. That average price is about 250 there. So really it's about 250 to about 550 is really kind of where most of our market moves. If you're under 250, there's just not a lot out there. If you're over 550, over 600, there's just not a lot of homes that are selling. There are homes for sale, just not a lot of those that are moving. And days on market, as we saw in the last one, we're seeing them go up and up a little bit. If you want to take an average price per square foot, seeing how that's affected prices with interest rates being higher. Last year in April, the average price per square foot was $191. This year it's dropped down to $172 per foot. So we're seeing a $19 per square foot decrease in the average price per square foot of homes. What that's basically is just telling us is we're seeing a slowdown. If you look at year to date, last year at this time through April, we had 800 homes sold. We've only had 631 homes sell this year. So that's also, right, it's a 21% decrease. So we are seeing homes taking, we're just not seeing that many homes sell. We're seeing a considerable decrease. So
yeah, I think you're right with the interest rates, because if I'm sitting in a home and I've got a loan on it and it's at 3 or less and I want to move up, I'm probably not going to sell my house today and buy in the same market and then increase my interest rate on what I owe, right? So I think that's fed a lot into what things are doing there.
Yeah, I agree.
From that last slide, with the price per square foot, isn't that a jump from last month? Quite a big jump from last month. So even though it's a decrease from last year, it's an increase for this year from last month to this month. The price per square foot has gone up.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we're seeing that as an average that means that it could mean anything. It could mean that we're selling a few more higher priced homes. It doesn't necessarily mean that each home is selling for more, but because of the average, we'll see this in the sold breakdown. There was a few more over last month that were a higher price. I think our highest one was 700,000 last month, and we had a couple over $1 million in April.
Yeah.
Well, and to make sense on that for viewers, they're wondering why, even with high interest rates, that homes are still selling within a normal average day period. And that can think it's because inventory is low. And so even though the rates are higher, because inventory is low, that's why we're not seeing a crash or anything like that, because it's just basic supply and demand. Inventory is low. So
yes, yeah, hey, great comments and lots of insight on how this market's kind of moving a little bit. So as far as average price goes, we're taking a look at April of 2022 versus April of 2023. We also saw a reduction in average price. We went from 456,000 to 419,000, basically giving us an 8% decrease in price. So we're seeing a 20% decrease in sales, and price is reflecting about an 8% decrease in price.
And that's directly related to the interest rate. Because,
Mhm.
you know, the more expensive the house is and the higher the interest rate, it's just not affordable. So as the interest rate goes up, buyers just don't want to pay those higher prices anymore.
Yeah,
Or
great
can't.
lesson in supply and demand.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Or they can't do it. All right. So if we look at year to date, what that means for us as far as average price. So last year we were sitting at about 431,000 average, and 2023 we're just barely at 400,000. So we have seen a drop of 7% decrease. So we're seeing 8% decrease in price and about 20% decrease in units sold. So
Do we
anyway,
have the slide coming up, Jessica, that talks about, I know you had it a couple times, that says this is what $400,000 bought this year. This is what 400,000 buys last year. We have that slide coming.
We don't have that, but we have what the average home, the traditional average home sold for, and we'll see that difference for sure. Yeah.
all right, Jeremy, take it away.
Good. So let's talk a little bit about the original list to sold percentage. Last year, if you had your home listed in March or April, you could expect to get just over asking price. This year, you're not. And so most people think, well, I'm anticipating the appreciation. I'm going to list my house a little bit higher than what it would have sold for last year, you know, based on year over year increases. When we were seeing 20, 30%, you know, you'd add 30% and expect to see it. We're not getting that appreciation of that huge 30% anymore. And so we're seeing some price drops. And so based on the original price to sold price, we're getting about 96% on average, almost 4.5% decrease on prices. But that kind of includes the blue sky factor where, you know, we're shooting high as a seller and then coming down. So it can mean a lot of different things. Year to date, we're seeing an even bigger drop of 5.4% decrease from an original list price to sold price. So, but I think the slide that we talked about, that price range, you know, days on market up below 600,000, the number of units moving, things are still moving in the market and still a good time to buy or sell. Because we're just balancing things out. We have compression on interest rates, but we have compression on inventory levels as well. So the average days on market, last year we were at 20. This is a good leading indicator of how long it takes to sell. This year we're at 76. And so that's an increase of 280%. And that really is telling us, hey, things may take a little longer to sell if you got to price your property correctly, because it's going to take a little longer if you think that, you know, you're still on the 30% increase year over year. We're not there. Year to date, on average days on the market, we were at 25 last year and we're at 72 year to date, which is a 188% increase there as well. So,
And just
So
to
remember-
speak on,
Go ahead, Ashley.
I was gonna say, just to speak on days on market, that's
Yeah.
not crazy high. History real estate, not that high. Just a little bit of an unusual market, 2020, 2022.
great
That's
segue.
not high,
So here it is, Ashley. Look at the
right?
historical data. You know, we're really 2016, 2015 in between those 2 years, which were leading into some of the biggest years that we have had. And so to think that we're in a crazy market where the bottom's falling out, we're not there right now. It is increasing. If that trend continues, you know, we may see a little more, but that is one of our leading indicators that can kind of tell us we're, because 2012, you see highlighted here in the green, that was the highest year. And then we were at 127 days on the market. And that was a crazy year. So
I think that as people look at days on market, it's a good idea to remember we are normalizing what we saw in the last couple of years. We are normalizing, so we should feel good about it.
And we've had a little bit of relief on interest rates, right? So things are a little more affordable. Hopefully that continues or stabilizes there as well. And we just balance out. So it's not so quick and dirty all the time. So this is you, right, Jess?
Yeah, so this is the slide a little bit that Nicole is talking about. This idea of what does it look like? How do we compare apples to apples? So this is the average home in Southeast Idaho. And in April, this average home sold for $139.70 per square foot. And there were 7 that sold. In 2022, a year ago, that same house sold for $170, almost $171 per square foot for that same criteria. Right now, we're looking at the pendings, this same home that are pending, which means we have an offer. We don't know what the final price is, but what was the price that it took to get the offer? That was at $144 per square foot, almost $145. We'll see if it inches a little closer to that $139 when we see those sale prices. But 26 of these homes went pending in April. Now we've got this same home sitting on the market, not selling, and those not selling homes are sitting at $158, and there's 16 of them out there. So they're sitting out there at that $158 per square foot. So they're running overpriced based on the close, about almost $1,850 per square foot. That means some of those houses are $51,000 overpriced. And sometimes that's a hard pill to swallow. $51,000 on this price point is a lot, but you can see just asking more money doesn't get you more money. You got to get down into that realm of what is it the right price the buyers would pay.
And this just makes me think of all of these slides we talk about in generalities. This is the general for the county. This is a general, but really to get a specific number, you need to contact us and say, hey, I want to look specifically at my house. If your house is right here in this average range, gives you a good idea, but still you don't want to be $51,000 overpriced and have your house languishing on the market. So that's why you need an agent to help you. Listing specialists. We have 3 listing specialists on our team. And so, give Brian a call and say, hey, do I really need to list my house at this much money? Because I don't want to be $51,000 overpriced.
Well, and as a buyer, making sure that whatever you're offering on, don't assume that the listing agent, and the seller knows really where that thing is supposed to be priced. And so even if you feel good about the price, I mean, you want somebody who knows the stats for you as a buyer to make sure that you are getting a good deal on the house and bottom line, not overpaying for it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's take a look at some of the snapshots that get a little more detail into the generals. And we've got, let's take a look at how many homes came on the market. So this is a big factor for us in Southeast Idaho because we don't know, and we want to get more inventory. Supply and demand means we have more buyers than we have houses. So this is a good sign. 286 homes came on the market in Bonneville, Bingham, and Jefferson County. That is at 34% over last month, which is a great sign. The average list price of those houses that came on the market are $484,520. And of the homes that came on the market and then sold within that same month, which means they went quick, 99% of the list price. So if you price your home correctly, you can sell it. And if you do price your home correctly, this is an indication that you will get that list price. It isn't about how much people will pay more or less. It's whether you price it correctly based on a good CMA and good information from a real estate agent. 235 homes went pending this month. That is a indicator that we are growing in inventory because 286 new came out and 235 came off the market. So that gave us a little more inventory. And 37 fell apart, which means they were pending. And then they came back on the market after they were pending. Could have been from inspection, could have been financing, could have been any of those items. But 37 fell apart after pending. I don't know why that says February. That's not February. That is in April. So I think I had that same mistake last month. I got to get that fixed. This is an interesting one. This is homes that withdrew, which means the seller actually took their home off the market. 44 homes withdrew in the month of April. They had an average days on market of 94. Now, what's really interesting is the houses that sold, their average days on market were 76. So you hit 94 and they're like, why are we taking so long to sell? Well, you're right there. The average price per square foot of those homes that withdrew was $170 per square foot. The average sold price per square foot was $172. So that's an interesting curiosity point. were people, how much were they overpriced that they withdrew? Were they just really close? I felt like they were really close, but they had only reduced their price 2.4%. And maybe they were not willing to go any lower. That's what they wanted, and they wouldn't go any lower, and they came off the market. So I think that's a really
the first time in a long time we've seen that price per square foot being comparable to the sold price per foot.
Yeah.
So our market's aligning and adjusting to what we are today.
Yep, exactly right.
I was going to mention on that too, you're saying, well, they're close to, that price per square foot of where they should have sold at. They were close, but they didn't quite make it. The problem is that if they started too high, even after you do price drops, it makes it difficult to get that price, that even if it is correct value, because you've been on market for a minute, and what buyers are thinking is, what's wrong with the house? How much lower can I get them on the price? Even if you're where you should be market value wise. And so it's really imperative that you talk to our listing specialist to make sure that you know where that ballpark is of where you should be, because it's very detrimental to start too high. It will get you less money or withdrawing.
That's what I was going to say, Ashley, was the strategy of throwing your house there high and then being willing to negotiate.
Cost you money.
So high, people who are in that price range and they look at your house and they kick it out, and then it comes back lower. They give you what's the wrong with that, house. And then as longer it sits on the market. And so you putting up high and then dropping your price, it's not a good strategy.
Cost you money. Yeah.
Costs you money. It costs you a lot of money. We've got a graph that we've tossed around the team that talks about how much lower your sold price is if you have to price drop and chase that market. That'd be nice to throw that up there for our next stats.
Yep. So true. So true. And this is a really good point. A lot of sellers don't get the perspective of buyers agents. So that's, I think, another benefit of this. You're hearing what buyers are talking about. So really good perspective. Let's talk about what the current inventory is. So currently on the market, we've got 407 homes in Bingham, Bonneville, and Jefferson counties. Last month we had 394. So we're up just a smidge, 4% on the homes that are sitting on the market. Right now, the homes active on the market are on average 76 days. Cumulative days on market, which means that they may have gone pending and come back on the market. The cumulative is 98. So that's kind of a little more indication of how long they've really been there. And currently they're sitting at the original list price to what they are currently priced at is at 97.5. The average price per square foot is 190. It's a really good indicator because our solds average is 172. So that's, again, a reminder of making sure that you're priced correctly. And we have 2.3 months of inventory, which means if we did not have another house come on the market in the next, it didn't have it come on now, it would take 2.3 months at the rate that we're selling to be out of inventory. A balanced market, which means no one has an advantage, a buyer or seller, is running anywhere from 4 to 6 months, and a buyer's market would put us above that 6-month mark. So we're still in a solid seller's market.
So right now, that days on market, all the houses currently on the market have been on the market average 76 days, and they've had to do a price drop. So if you're just coming on and you put your price at the same price that that guy that's been sitting on the market 76 days, whose house is going to sell?
Yeah, it's
correctly priced.
Yeah, correct.
We always say you're one of two homes. You're the one that sells or the one that helps the other home sell.
Yep. So let's take a look at what is the inventory looking like out there. So here's what we've got. Now, what's interesting is, Chad, I think you mentioned this before. We may be selling homes in that 600, under 600,000. That's our sweet spot, but there's a lot of inventory outside above that. So we've got a lot of inventory, but there's a lot of higher price stuff. And check out those days on market. You can almost start to see the days on market when it starts to climb as you get above that, especially above that $600,000 price point. Those ones will take a little longer to sell, and people have got to be prepared to do that. So I think that's really interesting. So the choices under 600 are still not as great. So still a tight inventory below 600.
Well, and 700 to 800,000, only 5 sold in that price range, and there's 6 times that amount. So, I mean, if you're in that price range, you have a lot of competition.
Yep, exactly right. So, and taking a look at how we're doing on adding listings over time, this is how much each month, how many new listings we received in that month. if you go back, you can see, even though it felt really good to get 286 new listings, historically, that's still pretty low. Historically, pretty low. On average, over the past 5 years, in April, we should be getting about 343. Still not enough houses. So that's creating us a supply issue, which will, you know, of course, drive those prices or keep those prices in a good spot. Right
Which
now,
is why right now, if you're thinking of selling right now, you're still in a seller's market. It could change, but you know, right now you're still in a seller's market. You still hold the cards.
Yep.
Even with all of these changes in numbers, still a seller's market.
Yeah, if you price it right, you should have a significant amount of interest. Yeah. Current pendings, we've in Bonneville, Bingham, and Jefferson counties, 279 homes are under contract to sell that have not closed, on an average price of $425, almost $426. The original price to the current price that they went under contract, 98.2. So they're picking houses that have not had a lot of price reductions. People are picking houses to go under contract at that were priced correctly, on an average price per square foot of 174. So, and those average days on market are 63. So really indicative, when you look at those pendings, that's really what the current market is doing. So let's take a quick snapshot of Idaho Falls and see how, versus the 3 counties, how does Idaho Falls, the boundaries of the 3 Idaho Falls high schools, how does it look? Well, in homes sold in April, we're 118. We were up just a smidge over last month on closed sales, which is interesting, versus down for the rest of the market. Average days on market is 71. And the original list price to the final sold price was 96%. So what they started out with, they had to come down about 3.8% to get under contract and get that final price. There's currently 238 homes in Idaho Falls on the market. The average days on market is 92. And the original list to what they're sitting at currently is about 97.5. If we look back at that sold, looks like we've got about 0.7% before they get in the pocket to get sold, to come down in price. And we have 2 months of inventory. So a little bit more aggressive in Idaho Falls versus the 3 counties. And that's the stats. Thanks so much, everybody.
A lot
for
of
joining
info.
us. Appreciate it.
A lot of info.
Again, if you would like our help, we would love to help you buy or sell. There is something about having a very experienced agent in your corner that really can get you the best deal. So please don't venture out there without having a great person right by your side. Give us a call and we'd love to help you. All right, we'll see you next month. Thanks, everybody.
See ya.
Thanks, everyone.